So, hi guys, and welcome to Crick Vidya's Cricket Analytics podcast. And today we'll be covering the Indian Australian series. And as we all know, the ODI bit is starting on Friday. So, we'll be previewing the ODI series and looking at what are the probable 11 players that can be chosen by each team, and also various strategies that both the teams can adopt. And finally we'll look at who has an upper hand and what are the likely results. So I'm joined by Yasir, who's my co-host, and Manju. Hi Manju, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
And also we are joined by Balaji. Hi Bala, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Sunit. Hi. Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
So we'll start with the first trying to see what are the ideal 11s for each team, and then go to various strategies. So Yasir, I'll start with you. Uh,
Yeah.
so if we look at Indian batting, with Rohit Sharma not there, what do you think should be the ideal batting order for India?
For me personally, Mayank comes straight in instead of Rohit, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is is the usual suspect. So you have Mayank, Dhawan, Kohli, KL, and Iyer, and there is some debate about 6 and 7. Whether Manish Pandey should play or Pandya should play, considering that he may not bowl. But I will still go with that extra firepower in the form of Pandya and have Jadeja at 7. So that would be my top 7, and this is assuming that Hardik Pandya does not bowl, even
Yeah.
then.
So, Manju, what would you say to this? Do you think there is any other strategy that the team can adopt, or this is the likely thing that they will go with?
They have even Prithvi in the squad. But on recent form, he hasn't had a good IPL. So they have to decide whether KL bats in the middle order or KL as an opener. Otherwise, I am quite happy with having Pandya at 6 because he's a great hitting touch, if you can say. So, like,
Hmm.
we don't have any other batsman who can match that strike rate. So there's no one to accelerate for us later. So in that way, this for a T20 combination, what Yasir says, it clicks pretty good. And even Mayank, despite that small niggle, I think he should be fine. So
Hmm.
this works quite well.
So I'll bring Bala in. Bala, do you think any other strategy could be there for the batting order? And if no, then maybe you can go on to the bowling combination that you would like.
Yeah, I don't think there will be any change in the top 7. And even if Hardik Pandya doesn't bowl, he should purely enter the team as a batsman. Because he's the only six-hitter in our team, and we are playing, 3 or 4 anchors in the team. So he walks in straight as a pure batsman, irrespective whether he bowls or not. And even if he doesn't want to bowl ever in his ODI career, that shouldn't matter as long as we find another six-hitter like him. He should purely play as a batsman in the team. And I don't think Prithvi Shaw will play. As usual, the top 6 or top 7 will fit them easily, like Mayank, Dhawan, Kohli, Shreyas, Rahul, and Pandya and Jadeja. And they shouldn't tinker with Rahul again. He was, I mean, when there was then there wasn't two regular openers. Even in New Zealand, they played Rahul at 5. So at least now Dhawan is there, so that shouldn't be an issue for them to play persist with Rahul at 5, and he can be that answer to the lower middle order O's that we have been having over the years, and he can easily fill in Dhoni's shoes. What Dhoni was doing in his prime, he can do. He has the skill set to do, and I hope him. But it's already there's already enough pressure on him at number 5. If Pandya doesn't play in the team, and that's how we lost matches 3-0 in New Zealand. There was no firepower after Rahul, so I think Rahul should stay at 5, not for this series, but forever. He should stay at 5. And bowling is, Shami, Saini, Bumrah, and Chahal. They should fit themselves actually. There is no need of extra batting depth that we usually Virat goes in search for in Thakur. I mean, that will turn out to be a disaster for sure. These three should play Shami, Saini, Bumrah, and Chahal along with Jadeja as the fifth bowler. If Hardik bowls, that's well and good. Else, there is no other go. You have to manage with 5 bowlers. And I saw some Shreyas rolling his arm over in the nets. If he comes good here and there, then that should be helpful for Kohli. But
And
otherwise,
he's a leg spinner.
yeah, he's a leg spinner.
He's a leg spinner. Yeah.
But yeah, and ideally there have been talks like either of Shami or Bumrah might be rotated, and both won't play at the same time. But I don't think they should do in the very first match of the
Exactly.
series down under. They should try to play their full strength 11. Already we are down without Rohit. So I think these three pacers like Shami, Saini, and Bumrah should play, and that will be my bowling attack: Shami, Bumrah, Saini, Chahal, and Jadeja.
So Manju, do you think India would be likely to go with this attack, or you think Shardul Thakur and the extra batting depth is something that they will go with?
No, but if you go on current form, like Jadeja is really seeing it like a football. So he's doing well as a batsman. So I think you can take that gamble and let it. Still, you can have a good top 7. So I don't think Thakur, unless he plays as a pure bowler, so that is less likely. So yeah, so you can't go by a few innings in 2018 and make someone a full-time finisher. It's not like that. So, so I think they can afford this tail with this 7.
True. So Yasir,
And Saini is uploading batting videos in the nets.
He did well in New Zealand on few occasions.
Yeah, right.
So Yasir, any changes? And if not, we can move to the Australia.
No changes, and I completely echo Bala's point that first game you should play the full strength squad and not think about rotating, etc. And also, you can't have Shardul Thakur just because of some batting strength. I mean, that is a very defensive approach.
Okay. So now let's move to Australia. So we'll start with Manju this time. So Manju, if you look at the Australian squad, how do you think their batting will stack up, and what is the likely batting combination that they'll go with?
So their powerhouses are Warner and Finch. But apart from that, we have to see how Smith and Labuschagne, if he gets a go, bat in the T20 format, because that is sort of their weak suit. It has shown over the years. Like they haven't been as prolific in white ball as they would have wanted to be. So if they can plug the gap out there, then definitely they'll have Maxwell in the T20s. But in the ODIs, they also have a similar problem at 6-7, as they have struggled after Ashton Turner's landmark series. They have struggled to find a finisher in that zone.
So in England, Maxwell actually did well. So he was playing at 5 or 6, and he actually won them a match.
They had a record partnership, Maxwell and Carey together. So that should give them some confidence.
So maybe they'll go with that kind of a combination to start with, because that gives them continuity. So Bala, do you think anything different can happen? And do you think they'll be worried about, let's say, the form of Steve Smith or Maxwell coming into the series?
No, I don't think their form should worry them as long as they perform for Australia. I mean, to be frank, IPL and international are different things. And IPL they will face all quality fast bowlers, and internationally you will face less. I mean, India is a quality attack, but IPL is a notch above international, in my opinion, purely my opinion. But I don't think they will be worried about their team. They are pretty settled, actually. They defeated the world champions in their home 2-1. So that is no joke. just before this IPL, and Maxwell was playing on a different world. Okay, I'm coming in at 7 and changing the game on a set. That was terrific innings in the third ODI, I guess. So that was superbly constructed innings from Maxwell. He didn't slog every ball. He was, pacing his innings, and their team looks perfectly settled on paper. Warner, Finch to open, and Stoinis at 3, Marnus and Smith to follow, because they followed this template against England, as they promoted Stoinis and demoted Smith, because Stoinis has been a complete waste at 5. But Smith has the skill set to succeed at 5. So they just swapped, and he did very well at number 3, Stoinis. So I think Stoinis, Marnus, and SPD for 5, and 6 and 7 will be Carey and Maxwell. And bowling will be, they also have a pretty settled bowling lineup like India, like Hazelwood, Cummins, Stark, along with Zampa. So that should be their level. It's pretty settled actually. They shouldn't worry. Ideally, they shouldn't worry unless they are going to rotate some bowlers like Cummins and Stark for the Test series, and play Kane Richards. Kane is not there, right? Tai or someone like that.
And they have Daniel Sams also in the squad, so if they want to go for a all-rounder. So
No, I don't think he is of. He's still international level ready, but I don't know.
The Dubai wickets may not have been kind to him, but I think his kind of bowling the slower balls into the wicket may help on Australian pitches.
No, it may help, but against India, I don't think they are mugs to even give wickets to Sams. He may pick some
They'll
wickets
wait
against
for him.
Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka, but against India, I don't think.
So Yasir, I'll come to you. So Bala has also suggested that Stoinis should be at 3. And we know Bala's liking of Stoinis from our historical podcast. So what do you think? Stoinis good at 3, or like Ricky Ponting suggested, that Stoinis might be better utilized as a finisher or at a lower middle order spot?
Okay, one thing I want to say is Australian team construct and the way the playing 11 is structured is very similar to Indian playing 11, and it's not the English kind of a philosophy where they go all guns and start hitting from the like Roy and Bairstow, etc., etc. So they're very structured similarly to India, and in the past, Finch has also said that they like the Indian way of going about in the ODI format. So, you have a good 7. Then you have the bowlers, very good bowlers. That is how they are structured. And the last series against England, Smith was out because of the concussion and the head injury, and that's why Stoinis was possibly coming on top, higher up. I'm not sure, but Stoinis has done very well as top of the order. But there is a possibility that since Ponting was also highlighting it in IPL here, initially at least he was batting down the order, that he may come low down the order. But I mean, I think Australia are flexible enough and strong enough to have him either ways.
So now, if we want to, let's say, compare who has a stronger batting lineup or who has a stronger bowling. So Manju, what would you say if we compare the batting? Is there a team that has an edge over the other when we look at their batting?
Yeah, with regards to Maxwell and Alex Carey, they have a stronger lower middle order. And comparatively, like we have people coming from good form, but that has to translate into the white ball game. So maybe when after a game, or now since the series starts, we'll come to know how they are going. So again, always we've had this finishing issue ever since the big man has gone from 1929. So there is going to be this problem. So at least before the next World Cup, we have to fix that somehow. So that is the main concern.
Bala, your views?
No, I think when it comes to skill set and the ability of the players, I think India has a complete advantage over Australia, irrespective of Stoinis and Carey in their middle order, and even Smith. We have Kohli, Rahul, and Hardik Pandya, and they have Stoinis, carry, and Steve Smith as ODI. I mean, no disrespect to Steve Smith, he is a colossal, but as far as white ball cricket is concerned in general, or in ODIs is concerned, Rahul, Kohli and Hardik Pandya are superior in my opinion, and also consistent enough than say Maxwell. Maxwell is known for his inconsistency, and Stoinis as well, and SPD is not in good form, but still his skill set is comparatively lower when compared to say Rahul, in my opinion. So because both play a similar role in their teams. So as far as batting is concerned, even bowling is concerned, I think India has a clear edge. Even Rohit Sharma less India is better than overall on overall basis Australia.
So Yasir, if we look at the bowling, Australia would be going in with four full-time bowlers and then two bowlers who will look at filling that fifth bowler quota, while India would be going with five proper bowlers since Hardik Pandya is not bowling. So if we compare that strategy, what do you think? Who has an advantage here?
So I agree. I agree with Bala. Top seven India, even without Rohit, is in my view better than the top seven of Australia. The bowling again, in my view, Indian bowling is again superior to the Australian bowling, considering the overall strength and the proper. You have five proper bowlers and the kind of bowlers we have, Bumrah, Shami. So it's a very strong bowling attack. The only edge I give Australians over India is the fact that their late order can bat, and that is without compromising on their bowling. So the 8, 9, and to some extent 10 as well maybe, but they can bat. So that is the only edge on a man-to-man that I give to Australia. Otherwise, on other parameters, India is a better side.
Okay. So now let's go to strategy. In terms of winning the toss, what is a good strategy? Is it again chasing for India and Australia, or do you think there can be something different that can be done here? Manju, we'll start with you.
India can look to win and bat first because that is usually their template which they have been following. Apart from Virat, who loves to chase. Otherwise, the batting first has worked quite okay for us, depending on the batsmen we have, who are initially circumspect and they later explode and they do well. So that was in the golden period which we saw. Our top three scored almost 68% of the total runs there were. But the drawback is the middle order won't get tested. So India, at least like to calm the nerves, they should look to bat first initial games, and later they can see depending on the conditions they can take a call.
So Bala, your views, and also what do you think is a good score batting first, which let's say an Indian bowling attack can defend?
I think anything around 280 to 290 should be a par score, but considering the wicket, I don't think India will look to bat first if they win the toss. If they bat first, they should score at least about 320 minimum, in my opinion. But Indian bowlers are capable of defending 280, but one big partnership will take the game away, and that even Cummins and Stark are very very good batters down the order, and we have struggles removing tailenders. So, if considering that in mind, India should get 25 to 30 runs extra. So 320, anything above 320 should be a winning total, in my opinion. But they have to bowl well for that.
But you think they should bat first, or you have a contrary opinion?
No, they should bowl first. Definitely, there's no point in batting first, and they should. Actually, as a fan, as a cricket fan, as an Indian cricket fan, it's been so long to see Virat raised his bat almost a year without century. So I want him to get
Yeah,
to a century. Not that he won't get century while batting first, but while
yeah,
chasing, that's a separate kick when he gets a
right.
century.
Yeah. So Yasir, your views on that, and let's look at from Australian point of view also.
So, if you look at the last series, that ODI series that India played in Australia, they were without obviously Warner and Smith. The scores were not very high. They were the middling sort of a scores, except for I think the first match. But if you look at the 2016 series when Manish Pandey got that century in the final match, those were very high scoring. So India was scoring 300 plus, but that was not enough. And India realized that they were still 10, 15 runs short of the par score. So if you have pitches like that, then India may have to recalibrate what is the kind of score they have. And so I think India will prefer chasing, and obviously we would like to see Kohli chase and do well. So my sense is India will prefer chasing if given a choice. And I don't know if batting first, it will be an interesting thing to see, but I don't think that will happen because India follows a very structured way of building a ODI innings to use Pandya as a floater if they're batting first. But I not sure that will happen.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now do you Manju, do you think that uh, we have a lot of anchors in our squad, so reaching that 320, 330 consistently, do you think their approach that they have been taking is good enough, or you think that they need to step on the gas a little early or attack during the middle overs? You think the approach needs to change a bit, or we're fine that way?
So as long as Virat is there, he'll ensure that using the large boundaries in Australia, he'll play concentrate on placement and twos and getting the odd boundary. So we need one more person like Virat, to do that role along with him effectively, so that when they reach the 40 over mark, they are in a position where Pandya can come and unleash, and then go for the score. But if they don't concentrate on strike rotation, then again it's going to be the same story of the back end run rate being lower than the uh, first few overs. So mainly depends on the strike rotation.
True. Bala, your views in terms of the strategy in the middle overs, and whether you think that Australians handle it better.
No, not really. I mean, India are a champion side in ODI, and we have to talk the middle overs part when it comes to T20Is, but not in ODIs. I mean, in ODIs they play perfectly the way that should be played. I mean, Shreyas Iyer has a very good strike rate and is a good player of spin. So he rotates strike, and it's all about building base for the last 20 overs in ODIs. That's how I will see. And Virat Kohli is there. He won't let the run rate, go down drastically. He has the lowest dot ball percentage around the world. So that shouldn't be an issue for him. And India has a very good side in middle overs. There is no glaring weakness as far as I see with this Indian side, Indian ODI side. Even in T20 side, they don't have weakness if they pick the right side, but they pick some random names and something. So that's the issue. But as see, this team with Rohit Sharma will be a colossal. I mean, it will be the team to beat. But without Rohit Sharma, they pose a very good threat. So that shows the bench strength of India. So that middle overs part shouldn't be an issue. And if I assume Mayank starts, and if Mayank stays post power play, then he will take his game to the another level because he is a very good player of spin. So yeah, I think that shouldn't be an issue.
So, Yasir, hypothetically, if let's say Mayank Agarwal has a good series and then Rohit comes back, uh, how do you see that team shaping into? So, you still drop Mayank Agarwal, or do you think there's still scope for him to be fit in somewhere?
You mean for the ODI eventually
Yeah.
afterwards? So, see, finally, India has got some semblance of a middle order, which is actually very strong now because you have Kohli, Iyer, KL. So that would not get disturbed. And Mayank could not bat at six. Rohit, when Rohit comes, then out of sheer ability and the strength that he has, Rohit comes in and he'll partner Dhawan. Over a medium to long term, you may think what is the future beyond Dhawan away.
Sure. So now, finally, let's move to predictions, and we'll start with Manju. So, Manju, if we just look at the ODI series, what do you think would be the end result of the series?
Definitely, India on paper are the stronger side. So 2-1 to India should be the prediction.
Okay. Bala, you've already said that India will win the series, but you think 3-0 or 2-1?
If India plays ruthless cricket, then 3-0. I mean, ruthless in the sense if they don't rest Shami and Bumrah for all the three games, then I don't see India losing even a single game. But I don't think that is going to happen, and India will rest either of Shami or Bumrah for a game. So 2-1, my prediction.
Yasir?
I will not be surprised if we are 2-0 up, and then because we do some rotation and all that and end up possibly losing the third match. But yeah, 3-0 is also possible, and at worst it can be 2-1. But India is going to win the ODI series.
Okay. And my final question would be that who would be the star batsman for India and Australia? So who do you think would be critical and would be like the highest run scorer? So this time I think we'll start with Bala.
Yeah, for India, I think it's King Kohli's series, I believe, because he has been having a rough in the sense for his standards, rough 1 year. So I think he is going to turn up to a beast. I believe. I pray I don't jinx him. And for Australia, I guess. Yeah, to be frank, I don't see. I don't think any one batsman will perform for them. I believe each three they will have three start batsmen in 3 games. I believe maybe one game Maxwell, one game Smith, and one game Finch. They don't. I don't see them doing one batsman doing consistently for them.
So Manju, you also think that the fact that Kohli has to return after the first test would actually
Hmm.
pump him and give that extra motivation that he will actually outperform others in the two series.
Could give him more surge, the power surge which they had in the big bash. Maybe it may come to him and he may do much better. So and definitely like Bala said, like since 1 year with pandemic, we haven't seen the getting raised. So this can be a raise the bat series for Virat Kohli.
Yeah. So Yasir, your views on who would be the
I'm predicting 2 centuries for Kohli in this limited overs white ball leg, and from a bowling perspective, I want to see Saini do well. I want to see Saini in Australia
Right.
because he has all the attributes to do well and succeed there. So that is one interesting thing that I would like to see, and I think he'll do well there. He'll do well.
sure? And from Australian batting point of view?
Batting, I don't. I agree with Bala. I don't think there'll be one person doing well across the 6 match. I mean, 3 matches. Let's say Labuschagne and bowling Pat Cummins.
Okay. And Manju, your call on Australia?
Australia, there's Alex Carey has had a very quiet IPL and he had all this weird shuffling in DC, Hetmere and all that stuff. So I think he should do well given the opportunity that he gets.
Great. So thank you guys. It was a nice discussion on the ODI preview, and let's hope that your predictions, at least regarding the results, come true, and India can win it 3-0 or at least 2-1. So
Yeah.
thank you, Balaji, for coming on
Thank
the
you.
Thank you.
podcast, and thank you,
Welcome.
Manju.
Thank you, Manju.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks,
Thanks,
Yasir.
everyone. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Bala.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.